But different life circumstances, different situations that a narcissist is put in is likely to tip the scale from one side to the other. When a grandiose narcissist encounters any type of setback, like legal issues, personal losses, public embarrassment, they often display more covert narcissistic behaviors. They start to feel persecuted and believe that their life is fundamentally unjust, and they adopt a resentful and victimized attitude. When a covert narcissist experiences success, their demeanor shifts dramatically toward grandiose. As their circumstances improve, their hidden grandiosity emerges, and they become overly self-confident. This type of narcissist often feels vindicated by their success, wondering why it took so long for others to acknowledge their supposed greatness. Chapter 4. How extreme narcissists blend in. It's pretty much unheard of for even big narcissists to have all 9 of the narcissistic scale traits. But after testing Brian Blackwell in 2004, police were shocked that they had a narcissist of insane proportions on their hands. It's July 25th, 2004. Brian Mark Blackwell has been living at his parents' home for the past 18 years. By all accounts, he's got the perfect life. He's a local tennis champion. His parents call him Little Brian lovingly. His friends call him Brains, and he's secured a scholarship to Liverpool College. No one suspects that Brian has become obsessed with power, success, and money. No one suspects that he's about to make a decision that will change his life forever. It's July 26th, 2004. Brian Blackwell and his girlfriend Amal Saba embark upon a lavish holiday to the United States. He wines and dines her in New York and Miami. Saba says that throughout this trip, he's never shown any signs that anything is amiss. He spends the trip laughing and joking as he showers her with gifts. It's August 15th, 2004. Brian and Amal arrive back in Liverpool. Brian decides to stay at his girlfriend's house for the next couple of weeks under the pretense that he's locked out of his parents' house while they are away on holiday. It's September 25th, 2004. Police are called to Brian's parents' house after a neighbor reports a strong odor emanating from it. Brian's parents are found dead. The decomposition of the bodies from the attacks was so advanced that investigators initially thought they had died from gunshot wounds. It's September 6th, 2004. Brian Blackwell is arrested under suspicion of murdering his parents. Investigators find that he's been telling multiple lies, like claiming to be a professional tennis player earning £45,000 a year, telling his girlfriend that he had bought a £60,000 Mercedes SL, which was parked in the garage of a flat in Southport, which he claimed to have purchased for £450,000. He offers his girlfriend a contract for £82,000 a year as his personal secretary, plus 10% of his earnings, a bonus of £20,000, and a generous expense account, an offer she could not resist. He writes her a £39,000 check for 3 months' wages, which inevitably bounces. He lavishes her with designer clothes and expensive jewelry, which later turns out to be cheap costume jewelry. Eventually, though, desperate for money, desperate to surprise his girlfriend, Brian decides to buy Amal Saba a Ford Ka. He withdraws £9,000 from a trust fund set up by his parents to help him through university. His mother is furious when she discovers that he had withdrawn the money. Together, his mother and father confront him. Together, they lose their lives. As odd as this sounds, that doesn't shock me. We've all heard stories of narcissistic rage. Heinz Kuit highlights the risk of violent rage from narcissists if they are challenged or perceive rejection. The shocking part is how he intertwined this fantasy with his real life and convinced so many other people. Look at this excerpt from an article from The Guardian about this whole case. When he returns to school in mid-August to collect his A-level results, top grades in math, chemistry, biology, and Spanish, he expresses surprise and upset that his parents hadn't contacted him. His parents had already been dead for a month. That's the extent to which he sold into this lie. The extent to which he knew he had to blend in. People see his surprise. People see that he's upset his parents haven't contacted him, and they believe him. It looks authentic, but it's not. Extreme narcissists are so good at blending in because they craft lies and they live those lies and they convince themselves of those lies. But what if I were to tell you that scientists have actually come up with a method to describe the decision making that a narcissist will make? Chapter 5, the spin model. So this is something that researchers are calling the spin model. Now, at first glance of this thing, I became incredibly confused. So I fixed it, or at least simplified it. But even with that small fix, there's still a lot going on in that graphic. The premise of it is pretty simple. Narcissism pertains to individual differences in a sequence of regulatory processes aimed at acquiring social status. Okay, maybe it's not that simple. Here's how to think about it. SPIN. It's right there in the acronym. S, status. P, pursuit. I, in N, narcissism. This is literally the thought process and the moment-by-moment regulatory processes involved in narcissistic status pursuit. So let's start at the beginning with this confusing graphic. Right here with the status-relevant situation. This is basically any encounter that a narcissist will have where they stand to gain some type of status.